Alright, hi. This is actually like my gajillionth attempt at this nonsense because turns out I'm more awkward on cam than I am in person, so I haven't been satisfied with any of my previous videos. Okay, so death and suicide, as I say that with a great smile. Alright, so one of the most appropriate things I think said about life and in turn death is that people like to hoard finite resources. For example, land, oil, and life. And for this reason, people resist and even refuse death. And I think that's, obviously seen in our society where we have what my mom calls Frankensteinism, the transplanting organs into terminally ill people who wouldn't be able to live without those organs. And, I don't necessarily disagree with that. What I do disagree with is that after you've lived a full life, or when you're not living a full life, and you will continue to not live said full life, I don't I don't understand why you should fear death, I guess. Also with death, there's the whole fear of the unknown, but for me, I don't know. I don't fear death. I don't know if your video's about your own opinions or if it's just, like, oh, this is death, and I guess it's probably about your opinions because then, like, of what interest would it be? Why would it set it apart? So my interest, my opinions, my views, I don't fear death. I don't fear the unknown. I find it remarkably exciting and interesting and marvelous, fabulous, perfect. I love surprises, like a little girl on Christmas morning waiting to open her presents. So I don't think death is anything to be feared. It's an adventure. I don't know what happens to you after death. I wonder if that's part of what your video is about. Reincarnation, going to heaven, going to hell. Truly for me, the afterlife is unknown, but the cynical side of me wants to say that absolutely nothing happens. And sometimes I think that's better than being alive, which would lead me to the suicide point. Now, I've felt suicidal before. Luckily, right now, it's not one of those times. So, I guess I know a bit about suicide. With suicide, it's not, if you've ever been suicidal, it's really not about inflicting pain on yourself or, like, hating your life even necessarily. It's just about being extraordinarily unhappy in it and feeling stuck, like you can't get out and it's not going to change for the better, and you'd rather change it yourself. And the prospect of being non-existent is better than the prospect of living this life the way you have been, because it sucks sometimes. I don't. Society also, like, greatly frowns upon suicide the way they do with death. And along with death, I don't think suicide is always a negative thing. I think suicide is a negative thing when it's somebody who hasn't lived their life to the fullest, who hasn't experienced life, and they do feel stuck in a rut and that they can't get out of, but they can. But I think that suicide is appropriate in some situations. For example, if you have a terminal illness and you're bedridden and you can't even control your own bowel movements and you're a burden on someone that you love and care about, and you would rather, see them having a chance to live their life or experience new things instead of having to take care of you, or like, if that's what you feel is appropriate, then I think it is. um I think that, yeah, suicide can be appropriate, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. One of my friends who's extremely depressed, like, all the time, once told me that people who don't want you to I told him that suicide was selfish once, and he told me that it's more selfish for the people around you to want you to suffer in your current existence than to try and find happiness in another, which is true. And I mean, I guess it's a greater selfishness in that sense. When we tell people that they shouldn't commit suicide, they shouldn't find their happiness somewhere else. Um, it's selfish of us because we want them around for our own happiness, but they're not key always to our happiness. Like, once they're gone, of course we'll be upset at the idea of not being able to see them anymore, talk to them or be with them, just whatever. But we'll go on with our lives, and we'll still be able to experience new things. And if that person feels like, they've lived all they want to and they won't be happy, then it's selfish for us to want them there for our own happiness when we could just as well be happy without them. I mean, so I guess I may have kind of really odd views to you on the subjects. I don't know, because you haven't let me watch your videos. And this video may make you think that I'm just as crazy as you're afraid that I'm going to think of you. Not on drugs though, because I don't think I come off as being on drugs. Sometimes. Not just now though. I hope you're not like, oh my god, this girl's crazy. Well, actually I am, so I hope, I don't know, I just hope you're not like, oh my god, this girl's the bad kind of crazy and I don't ever want to talk to her again. Alright, that's it.